Gosh, is there a lot to cover? We talked a little bit before about Pete Davidson and that pyramid scam. And the reason it's a pyramid scam is only because what happens with a pyramid years ago, can't believe I'm telling you this, years ago in LA, I was part of the pyramid thing. I didn't know that it was a scam. Someone said, oh God, you come in at the bottom of this thing and you pay $500. And if you get through the top and you either bring other people in, it's like $3,600 you could get. And people were obsessed. This was in LA. And I want to say let's call it 92, 93. People were obsessed. Like people were coming to other people's houses and having these parties and holding up boards and they just said it would keep going on and it would go around the world with this pyramid thing, which was a scam. And I went through one time sweating to get my money out. And all these people ended up going to jail. It was a crazy pyramid scam. Anyway, I was 20 something, young 20s. So I said, Pete Davidson, by dating, you just got to get in. You get in, you date Larry David's daughter. Then you turn that's the $500 level. Then you just got to get up to the second level. And that's when you're dating Ariana Grande and trying to bring other people. And then you're bringing other people in because you're dating Ariana Grande. So other people are coming in and paying attention. And then you take it to the next level. And then you get to the Bridgerton and Kaya Gerber level. Kate Beckinsale, you're almost at the top. So then when you get to Kim Kardashian, you're out. You're out. You got all your money out. No matter what happens now, you're out. Fuck the rest of them. You're out of the top of the pyramid. You just got to get in. You got to get in, get some other people all you have to do is get in at the ground level and get in some other people beneath you to believe you and believe it. So if they come in, once you're in and it's moving, don't want to get stuck in the middle. You don't want to date some regular civilian PR chick or anything like that. That's that will make the pyramid stop. But if you could keep going one level at a time and then get to the most famous person that ever lived, Kim Kardashian, you are fucking out no matter what happens. Fuck the rest of them. It's their problem to get everybody else in. When did everyone become so logo obsessed, okay? I remember my mother as a kid saying to me, they're status symbols. I just remember it. And I remember coming in on the Housewives and Luann making fun of my Skinnygirl wrapped car and me saying, you're wearing an Hermes belt. And she's like, well, they're not paying me. I was like, no fucking kidding. That's the point. You're wearing an H for free. So now, and particularly on the Housewives, girls wearing head to toe G, F, B. We know we get it. We spell, we've seen it. We know, it only has 26 motherfucking letters. We know our A, B, C, D, E, F, Gs. We know. What you're doing, you're a billboard. It's so insecure. If you're wearing massive I make a joke with Paul. I'll see a sweatshirt across the front. It's literally a black Hanes sweatshirt and it says in white letters, Balenciaga. Balenciaga. I look at Paul, I go, what brand do you think that is? Literally, let's do some creativity. Put some rips on it, put some shoulder pads, just a black sweatshirt or a green sweatshirt. It says gold letters Gucci, 2 rings, $200. But I'm their spokesperson. I'm advertising for them. I'm wearing fucking Gucci across my chest. But as if that's not enough, women head to toe. Fendi, F's across everywhere. B's across everywhere. G's, everything. Link, logo, Fendi. How fucking insecure do you have to be wearing someone else's name all over your body? I actually think Travis Barker and Pete Davidson are more creative. Tattoo your fucking self. You don't have to wear goddamn letters of other people's logos all over your whole body. Wear the designer. Enjoy it. A little emblem, fine. An LV, great. But every day, every time we see you, head to toe, hat to shoes, logos, it's so insecure. And it's so funny because it's what makes people feel secure while brands are laughing. They're like, ah, ha, ha, that bitch bought that $1,000 sweatshirt. It's a black Hanes sweatshirt. It says Balenciaga across the front. They're just laughing because that's the entry level shit that people are doing their advertising for them. Well, running up the flagpole, damn, we don't know if we could spend less on advertising because they're doing it for free. Whoa, it's crazy. Oh, V? Let me guess. You're advertising your vagina. Oh, no, never mind. It's Valentino. I got it. Okay. Well, because V would at least be empowering. We understand. You have a female private part. Let's reduce the advertising marketing budget this year because all these fucking young thoughts, as my assistant calls them, or these words, these basic bitches or whatever it is are all doing it for us, or desperate people, insecure. So just remember, whenever you see somebody with head to toe logo or some giant name across their chest, yes. And yes, I own a lot of Hermes. They're so subtle with their logos. It's like very tiny little letters. And I own a Chanel beach tote or two, but it's like tone on tone. And listen, I love luxury goods, but to wear the goddamn name across your body, head to toe, and all the letters just feels painfully insecure to me. And it is a status symbol. We know you're rich or pretending to me. We got it. You wear letters. You understand the alphabet. We're proud. And think about the really rich people, old money, or that have real money. They're not wearing logos head to toe. It's always the people that have new money. Do you ever notice that? The new money obsessed, or the people that really housewives need to pretend how rich they are. Those are the people wearing head to toe logos. I have been doing this TikTok series, Beauty or Bust. I have been wearing the most expensive makeup and the least expensive makeup. I have been spending literally now thousands of dollars on this stuff. Most of it's a scam. And I got to tell you, so it's a scam in 50 different ways. It's a scam because products that are so expensive literally have the same function as products that are really inexpensive from the drugstore. There are some good brands, like Tom Ford has some amazing things. Chanel has a couple of amazing products. Westman Atelier, this other brand. Charlotte Tilbury. Some brands have great stuff. But across the board, it's really 98% marketing. There'll be a primer, and you'll see people on TikTok, oh my God, this primer, like it illuminated, look at this, look what it did to my face. And just like tasting a piece of pizza, you don't know how good it is unless you compare it to another piece of pizza next to it from another place. So they're freaking out and having multiple orgasms over these face primers. And then you put another one that's from the drugstore next to it, and it's like really, really similar. And then there's another level where 7 different products can be marketed by one brand. This is the highlighter. This is the cream highlighter. This is the powder highlighter. This is the blush. This is the cream blush. This is the highlighter blush. This is the duo combination bronzer highlighter blush. Like, because they're just getting you to buy more shit. But when I tell you, so many of these things do the same thing. One brand, Charlotte Tilbury, I thought they have a primer. It's called a primer. So I put it on as a primer. And the people that watched it on TikTok were like, no, that's not the one. It's the other thing called Flawless Filter. And I'm like, but on it says mix with foundation, wear under your foundation or as a highlighter. But apparently you're supposed to wear that under your foundation or mix with your foundation or as a highlighter as a primer. So I'm like, but what about the primer? And don't they also sell a highlighter? And doesn't their highlighter also look like this eyeshadow in this other palette? So like you can use everything for everything. I mean, and the thing is, think about it. We're so goddamn dumb. Is a blush that much different than an eyeshadow? Like it's a square of pigment that's smaller or bigger. Is a light eyeshadow that's like iridescent and cream that much different than a larger square that's for a highlighter for your cheek? We're so dumb, and they're just playing into it. They're just literally selling us little and big squares at different prices and saying they do different things. And so much of this shit's bullshit. I did half my face in $550 makeup and half my face in $90 makeup. Couldn't tell the difference, but people are clamoring to want to buy the expensive stuff. So they're like, well, it must be how long it lasts. I'm like, it all lasts, and it must be the pigment. But the cheap shit has better pigment than the other stuff because it's like cheaper, brighter pigment. Just like cheaper truffle oil is stronger than the expensive stuff. Like, it's crazy. So anyway, that's its own bag of bullshit. You got to get educated on it because I literally have I said literally a lot. I literally have said literally a lot, and I have bought a lot of it, and a lot of it's bullshit. So I said something publicly about New York not being safe after this crazy subway incident, and I gotta tell you, my daughter went to a sleepover this weekend in New York City, and I've seen this before where parents just really want to be cool, and the parent and I spoke because the kids sometimes just text each other and think you're just going to send the kid over to someone else's house, and I'm not speaking to a parent. So it's like, I want to make sure a bot isn't watching them. So the parent's like, well, yeah, I don't know what you're like. We're pretty hands off. Like, we let them do their own thing, you know. They like to go. They're going to go to dinner. They're 11 and 12 by themselves. We'll send them in an Uber. I send my daughter in an Uber all the time. Like, excuse me? No. And they'll be at the restaurant. And then after, they'll go look at makeup and, you know, they can walk there or whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm a helicopter parent. I didn't know I was, but now I know I am because My daughter's not walking in New York City. We had an incident where someone chased my daughter 10 blocks and like had their tongue between their fingers on the street chasing her. The police were involved, okay? Another time someone was drinking tequila behind her in a movie theater. We had someone say, give me your fucking money right in front of my child. And they did end up having dinner just with the kids and get picked up. But my daughter said, someone said, what school do you go to? And we said, we used to go to this school, etc. And she was just talking to people next to them. And I was like, you can't talk to people. Like you can not be rude. You can just say, but no information about you, no details. Like it's a crazy world and it's scary everywhere. And cities are unsafe everywhere. It's not just New York. So I get that. And people did comment about that too. But that's why I don't believe 11-year-olds should be sitting out to dinner by themselves. And maybe I'm that old-fashioned parent, but I don't want my daughter talking to strangers about God knows what, and then they know where she lives. I'm just erring on the side of caution. And New York is not safe, okay? Big cities right now are not safe. And I mentioned that Jerry Seinfeld got into a debate with this guy who said New York is over at the beginning of the pandemic, because Jerry was like, it's not, and it's New York. And, you know, people have such pride of New York, and people are going through New York posting all the beautiful flowers and vines down the outside of every restaurant and the gorgeous penne alla vodka and fresh truffle ravioli. And it's just so wonderful. And Fashion Week is unbelievable. And it's all so great. And guess what? That's like you have a family member that has a problem, but you're only talking about all the great things they do because you're embarrassed and you don't want other people to know that you know there's a problem. And everybody wants to just pretend that New York is what it always was, or whatever city you live in. And you're embarrassed because it's your city and other people don't want to be there. And if you see a lot of crime and scary stuff going on, you're embarrassed and you are kind of covering it up. And there needs to be an intervention, like with that family member, which is, in my case, New York. Like, here's the intervention, New York. It's not what it was. So I love truffle pasta like the next of them. I love truffle pasta and those fake outdoor restaurants with flowers down the outside like the rest of us. But New York is not what it was, and it's not safe. And I'm a helicopter parent now, and I'm proud. And I'm not that interested in being in the cities. And there's been such a massive exodus. And correct, I can afford to live where I want to, and other people cannot. But this is not about finances. This is about a situation in major urban cities. Who are the sources in these articles? A close source says, well, it's the people themselves, just so you know. It's the people, it's the publicists. It's just that the person doesn't want to say, I'm responding to this ridiculous thing about me now, but it's a source close to. So just know that it's them. It's always them. It's literally 99.9% them. J.Lo got engaged to Ben Affleck for the second time with a different color ring. She literally has all the rainbow colors of rings and diamonds. And love don't cost a thing unless you're not subscribed to Jen's newsletter, because in order to find out that Jen's engaged, you must subscribe to her newsletter where she told everybody very privately, aka everybody in the entire world. So you had to subscribe to the newsletter, but I don't. So I just found out like Jen popped 7 seconds after it was in the newsletter, but I thought it was funny that there were terms. Like, I'll tell you guys, but only in the newsletter. And it's funny that Ben, who is so sort of seemingly cool and like Boston and down to earth, he just goes along with all of this. And it's just, you know, his engagement's being announced, his low-key engagement that was in a bathtub that no one knows anything about, but everybody knows everything about. But it reminded me of something. So, you know, Courtney and Travis seem so happy and so in love, and they want to have a baby, and it's beautiful. And I don't know if he tattooed her, but I know that Pete tattooed Kim, so everybody's tattooed and everybody's madly in love. But I do know that when I was in a relationship, a public relationship that I shared with people, it made me feel uncomfortable when things started to get negative, because I felt guilty and disingenuous sharing all that had happened and all the good, and then not sharing the bad. And obviously there were private moments, but I felt responsible if I took them on the road to be honest. And I was honest, and I did discuss that things weren't perfect and my life wasn't perfect and my relationship wasn't perfect. And it was respectful, but it was honest. And this next time around, I've never posted a picture of my engagement ring. I've never posted anything about that night. I've never through a newsletter or through social media done anything announcing that I got engaged. I got engaged. People found out. I was looking like a wreck with no makeup and paparazzi'd, and also in the water in Boca paparazzi'd. But I never ever announced it because I wanted it to be private, and it did work. It was pretty private, meaning the engagement was private. We were private for over a month, but the whole thing. And part of that is because I don't want to bring people in because I don't really share with them the struggles I go through. I talk about a little bit about long distance relationships and some of the things in my life that I talk to therapists about. But I just find it interesting that whether it's Kim Kardashian or Jennifer Lopez or Courtney or anyone who's very public about their love and their relationship, we get to hear all the good. We get to hear you got a priceless diamond and it was so amazing and it's the love of your life and you're so lucky and people should be so lucky. And I'm sure people are divided. I'm sure people read about that. Some people think it's going to happen to them. It's a fantasy. They're just living vicariously through someone else. People are definitely jealous. Like, there's no way that people aren't envious. People are alone. People have been in a pandemic. People are looking online. They don't feel good about themselves. So just seeing only the good about relationships, just the romance, the rings, the dresses, the fabulosity, the vacations, it's making people feel bad about themselves. Unless you share some of the struggle. Because we know that J-Lo was engaged to A-Rod and it was blending and it was amazing and it was magical and they have cultural similarities and they believe in the same thing and they believe in each other and they're madly in love and they're soulmates and they found each other and they got engaged and we were with them when they got engaged and they had the big ring and it was amazing. And we were there with Kim and Kanye in San Francisco when he proposed in that amazing All of Me John Legend song when they got married and we saw the ring and we're all envious and it's amazing. All this is amazing. We hear nothing about the negativity. It's all respect our privacy during this time. Then they break up and we go on the ride again with the next fantasy. So we did the fantasy. We did none of the reality. We are completely in the dark. We don't get to hear anything about the reality, which we all could actually learn something from. We could actually relate to. Oh, divorce, problems with parenting, blending, maybe religious differences, maybe in-laws, maybe long distance, maybe careers. Maybe one person has more money. And I'm not saying everybody has to share this. What I am saying is that if you're going to share all of the flawless diamonds and fantasies and vacations and all of the newsletter experiences and the bubble baths and everything that you have that nobody else has, why not share the flaws? Then people could learn something. Then people could be inspired. Then people could be along with you in a genuine way. But just sharing how lucky you are and how amazing and fairy tale your life is, only showing us that, leaving us in the dark when it goes sideways, and then bringing us back into it again once the fantasy begins again. Whether Gwen Stefani, Blake Shelton, whoever it is, I just think that that's a word to the wise. People are going to stop wanting to be on every Disneyland fantasy ride if they can't also relate to some of the struggles that everybody's going through. Because I can tell you that most people don't relate to private planes, colored diamonds, fantasies, $1 million vacations, and lives that people could only dream of and can't afford. So love does cost a thing.